This is the Ashraf Garda Show, live and exclusive on Salam Media and One Nation FM.
And that, of course, is the voice of the late Ibrahim Gangar, an absolutely legendary host of this show, and he did it for many, many years now. We play that right throughout the month of Ramadan. Some of his pronouncements, okay? But what about pronouncements regarding Pakistan and France? With me on the line is Ahmed Quraishi, who's a journalist, public policy writer, researcher, television commentator. So he's done many, many things, okay? So he's with me, and let's find out what latest developments around that is. Ahmed, salam alaikum. Appreciate your time. It's what, 3.5 hours, 4 hours? Depends where you are. In fact, are you in Pakistan?
Yes, I'm in Islam. Good to be with you.
Okay, so you're close to lunchtime around your area, Dhuhr time, right? So, okay, well, what's happened now regarding Pakistan's response to earlier pronouncement from France, what, a week or two back?
Right. I think it's a huge crisis here. Obviously, it's a huge and big crisis, and the government is in a lot of trouble, and that would be the understatement of the century, frankly. There was supposed to be a parliament resolution that was supposed to be tabled yesterday by the government. It has been now postponed until Friday, and nobody knows really what to do, because the Prime Minister Imran Khan addressed the nation a couple of days ago on TV, and he said my government cannot expel the French ambassador. It's not possible. He gave a list of reasons, but it seems that his negotiating team in the government, including his own interior minister, went to the protesters and the group that is protesting and committed to bringing the topic of expelling the French ambassador to the parliament. So there seems to be two opinions within the government, where the prime minister tells the nation on TV that he cannot expel the French ambassador. It's not possible. And he gave many reasons: economic, political, diplomatic. And the very next day, his own negotiating team with the protesters is saying, no, we've committed now with the protesters that we will bring the topic of expelling the ambassador to the parliament for the political parties. Now, the political parties are very angry, and they're saying, nobody discussed with us, nobody consulted us, and now when you're in trouble, the government, the prime minister is in trouble, you want us, the political parties, to take your mess and your pressure and take the responsibility of deciding whether to expel the French ambassador or not. So it's okay. And you know, there's a lot of politics with diplomacy, with religious feelings, all of it. It's a very heady, very dangerous mix. Let's see how it plays out, but it's really not looking good. It's very embarrassing diplomatically for Pakistan. Pakistan right now is the only Muslim country out of 57 countries where the issue of expelling the French ambassador is being discussed, where there's or has been. Right now, there's no violence. It's pretty much peaceful right now everywhere. No protest right now on the streets, but we've had a very, very troubling protest, and people have died. People have been killed, protesters, policemen. So it's really not looking good for the government politically. It's very, very problematic.
The context to all of this, of course, is Pakistan, or rather, is France, in fact, effectively banning young people, 18 and below, Muslims wearing the hijab. I mean, that's the key focus, right? But your thought in terms of, you say it's very embarrassing to the Pakistani government, right? Why is it embarrassing?
Yeah, well, it's not. You know, the issue is not the wearing of hijab. It's the magazine Charlie Hebdo and the blasphemous. Yeah, I hope you can hear me. I hope there's no.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying it's the problem. The issue is not the French government banning the wearing of hijab. The problem is the Charlie Hebdo magazine, which publishes cartoons, you know, and it publishes cartoons and offends the feelings of Muslims and Christians, and they do that, you know. It's a small magazine, and you know the whole issue that happened last year. So this is what you're seeing right now in Pakistan happening. Basically, is a leftover from what happened last year. So last year, when the Charlie Hebdo published those cartoons about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and there were protests in Pakistan, That's when the Prime Minister, Imran Khan, agreed with the protesters that he will expel the French ambassador. The Prime Minister reneged on his promise. He did not expel the French ambassador. So the protesters right now, the protesters are now telling him, are holding him to his word, are telling him, expel the ambassador.
Okay, hold word in terms of his own promise. Ahmed Quraishi, appreciate your time. Thank you. That is a story that's going to run absolutely. But let's now get to the news at 9.
Connect with Salam Media via